Count the eyes at the edge of the light. Not charging, not leaving, waiting. And the only thing standing between them and him is a pile of burning sticks with 2 hours left in it. So how does anyone survive the night? Fire is not a wall. Fire is a countdown. We assume the fire is what held them out there. Nobody has ever measured it. A campfire that size throws light about 30 feet in every direction. Inside that circle, you are a problem. Outside it, you are meat, and the circle shrinks all night, log by log, until somebody gets up and feeds it. The fire does not protect you. A person protects you. Someone stays awake and puts wood on it, over and over in the cold, while everyone they love lies unconscious behind them. Hyenas crack open leg bones to get at the marrow. A lion can see well enough to walk up on a sleeping animal and take it without a chase. You cannot see your own hand. The spear is for one animal. Count the eyes again. The math is simple, and it is bad. Every night for hundreds of thousands of years, a group of slow, soft, half-blind primates lay down on open ground in the dark, surrounded by animals built for exactly this hour. And they woke up. Almost all of them. Almost every time. Something kept the fire alive. The strange part is what? Somebody has to be awake. Not as an idea. Physically on their feet at 2 in the morning with wood in their hands. Researchers put sleep trackers on 33 adults in a hunter-gatherer camp in Tanzania. No electricity, grass huts, sleeping on the ground. They logged 220 hours of sleep across the whole group. In all that time, the number of minutes when every adult was asleep at once came to 18. 18 minutes. Not 18 a night, 18 total. For over 200 hours, somebody in the camp had their eyes open. Open eyes out there are worth less than you would think. Never the same somebody. One body sits up, adds a branch, mutters at a dog, lies down. 20 minutes later, a different one does the same thing, and neither will remember it in the morning. There is no roster. Nobody hands out shifts. Nobody gets thanked. The researchers called it sentinel behavior, which is the polite way of saying the camp is never actually asleep. And here is the strange part. Ask those people who was on watch, and the honest answer is nobody. They are not guarding anything. They are awake because that is when their body wants to be awake. While they are up, they poke the fire, and then they lie back down. A night watch that runs for 300,000 years with no clock, no volunteers, and nobody in charge should not be possible. It works because of something you inherited and probably complain about. Your grandmother wakes at 4:30 and cannot get back to sleep. Your nephew is wide awake at 1 in the morning staring at a ceiling. In a city, those are two problems, and both get treated. Put those same two bodies around one fire, and they are a roster. Older people go down early and surface early. Young adults drift the other way, hitting their deepest hour just as the older ones are getting up. In that camp, the ages ran from the 20s to the 60s, and the sleep windows barely lined up. The hole in one person's night gets covered by somebody else's body clock. Nobody designed that. It happens whether the group wants it or not. I had early waking in old age filed under decline, a body quietly losing the thread. That was wrong. On the ground, in the dark, the oldest person in the camp is the reason the 4 in the morning shift exists. That is not a body failing. That is the last watch of the night, and it comes online exactly when the fire is at its lowest. So the watch holds, the fire holds. Then, once a month, none of it is enough. And every one of them could see it coming days in advance. The moon. Researchers pulled together 2 decades of lion attacks on people in that same country. Hundreds of them, with the date and hour of each one. 2 patterns fell straight out. The first is when. Lions take people in the evening. Not at midnight, not at dawn. The hours right after sunset while everyone is still outside. Cooking, walking back, finishing the day. The second pattern is the one that gets me. Attacks drop around the full moon, then spike hard in the 10 days after it. Work out what that means for somebody standing there with no calendar. A full moon rises as the sun sets and lights the whole night. Every night after that, the moon comes up later. A bigger bite of pure darkness opens at the start of the night, right in the killing hours. So the full moon is not the dangerous night. It is the warning label, the sign in the sky that tells you the next week and a half belongs to something else. Cultures all over the world treat the full moon as the night of danger. Read the numbers and it flips. The full moon was the one night you could see them coming. Meanwhile, the thing most likely to be feeding on you at night was already inside the camp. The man with the spear is facing the wrong way. Past the fire, there might be a few large animals on a bad night. In the grass underneath him, there are ticks, mites, mosquitoes, and biting flies. Every night, forever. In a cave in South Africa, archaeologists found bedding 200,000 years old. Grass cut and carried in and laid down in layers. Underneath it, a bed of ash. Mixed into it, leaves from a camphor bush, which insects will not go near. They burned the old bedding, then laid the new bedding on top of the ashes because things that crawl will not cross it. That is a mattress, a fumigation, and an insecticide, invented as one object by people we still draw as idiots holding clubs. How anybody arrived at the ash layer, I do not know. Grass makes sense. A leaf that stops things biting you makes sense. Burning your own bed and sleeping on the burnt part is a step I cannot draw a line to. Nothing out past the firelight ever bit anybody as often as the things already in it. Every animal out in that grass has a mirror behind its eye, a layer of tissue at the back of the eyeball. Light that missed the first time gets bounced back through for a second pass. On a night with a sliver of moon, a hyena gets 2 chances at every scrap of light that enters its head. That is why the eyes glow. You do not have one. No mirror, no second pass. Photograph a person in the dark, and the eyes come back red. Just blood. Photograph a dog, and it comes back gold. Your eyes have one setting for the dark, and it is slow. Half an hour of real darkness before your night vision finishes arriving. 30 minutes of nothing, and then you get shapes, movement. The difference between a bush and not a bush, one look at the flames takes most of it back in seconds. Look at the man at the fire again. He is standing beside the only thing keeping him alive, gripping a spear, staring out into the dark. Because he is beside the fire, he is the blindest thing in the clearing. Every animal out there can see him perfectly, lit, framed, standing in the middle of his own little stage. The fire was never a wall. It was a trade. You get 30 feet of light and you pay for it with everything past 30 feet. And that is why nothing out there is in a hurry. They can watch him all night for free. He cannot watch them at all. No reason to rush a man who has no idea where you are. So yes, they waited. Lying down on open ground next to a thing that blinds you should have been the worst decision our species ever made. The argument is that it rebuilt the inside of our heads. Our ancestors slept in trees, the way apes our size still do, and at some point they came down. Whether fire came first or the ground did is still argued over. A chimpanzee builds a fresh bed in the branches every night and abandons it by morning. Trees are safe, and trees are awful. You cannot let go up there because letting go means falling. Down in a ring with somebody always awake in it, the numbers change. An ape our size should sleep 9.5 hours. We run on 7, and more of those 7 go to dreaming than in any primate on record. The ape is still unconscious at hour 9. The human has been up since dawn and is already telling somebody something. Shorter sleep, denser dreaming, and dreaming is where memory gets locked down. And I will say the absurd version out loud. Whatever made us able to sit here thinking in sentences may rest on one thing. A group of people agreeing, without ever discussing it, that somebody would stay up. Go back to the man at the fire. He is not a guard. Nobody appointed him. He is a body whose clock happens to be running at that hour, and in 40 minutes, he will be asleep. Somebody older is about to surface and take it without a word. That is the answer. Ancient humans survived the night by never all being unconscious at the same time. Not once. 18 minutes out of 220 hours. Tonight you will lock a door, shut a curtain, kill every light, and lie down in a sealed box with nobody awake in it. No fire, no watch, nothing to feed. By the standards of the last 300,000 years, that is an experiment, and you are the subject. And you will still come up at 3 in the morning, heart slightly too fast, listening to your own house. There is nothing out there. There has not been for a very long time. Your body has not been told. Thanks for watching. All the sources and studies used in this video can be found in the description below.